Our coverage tonight begins with President Bola Tinubu asking the National Assembly to confirm Lieutenant General Olufemi Oluyede as the substantive Chief of Army Staff. In a later address to both the Senate President, Godswill Akpabio, and Speaker of the House of Representatives, Tajuddin Abbas, Tinubu cited Section 218 of the 1999 Constitution and Section 18 of the Armed Forces Act. Oluyede has served as acting Chief of Army Staff since October 30, following the illness and subsequent death of Lieutenant General Taori Lagbaja. Tinubu expressed confidence in his leadership integrity and professional experience to ensure national security. A seasoned officer, Oluyede has held key command roles and participated in major operations including ECOWAS missions and domestic security efforts. His service has earned him numerous honors, including the Chief of Army Staff Commendation Award and the Grand Service Star. Away from that, the Nigerian government has suspended the October Federal Account Allocation Committee FAC payment to Rivers State amid a feud between Governor Siminalayi Fubara and FCT Minister Nyesom Wike. The Accountant General's office confirmed compliance with the court order barring the disbursement. A federal high court ruled against allocating funds to Rivers State following a case filed by a faction of the State Assembly led by Martin Amawule. The dispute centers on Governor Fubara's alleged failure to resubmit the 2024 budget to the Assembly faction, which is backed by former Governor Wike. Meanwhile, FAC's October allocations to all states remain undisbursed, pending due process. The political rift highlights deepening tensions in Rivers State's leadership. There's been a reaction. Governor Siminalayi Fubara has urged the Court of Appeal sitting in Abuja to set aside a judgment that barred the Central Bank of Nigeria from releasing monthly allocations to Rivers State. The governor, through his team of lawyers, prayed a three-member panel of the appellate court led by Justice Hamabaka to vacate the High Court order, which he maintained was issued in bad faith. He urged the appellate court to allow his appeal and nullify adverse orders from Justice Joyce Abdulmalik of the Federal High Court made against the state in the judgment she delivered on October 30. Governor Fubara's plea came a day the Justice Baka-led panel consolidated 5 other appeals that arose from the said judgment of the High Court. Let's get some perspective now on this matter. We're joined by legal practitioner Henry Ekine. Henry, how will the suspension of FAC funds impact Rivers State's finances and its ability to provide essential services to the citizens?
Well, apparently, the delivery of services and programs and projects in a state will surely be a factor of the availability of funds for that state, and of course, the prudent management of resources. So it is to that extent that where a federated unit in a federal state as Nigeria is denied funds in the case of Nigeria, where substantial part of the fund for projects and programs in a state are drawn from the federation account, and the state is denied that fund, then apparently the delivery of projects and programs in that state will be affected. So there is no doubt that, unfortunately anyway, there is no doubt that if the Federation Accounts Allocation Committee, or by extension the federal government, takes the step to deny Rivers State government or any government, any state government, even a local government, the statutory and constitutional right to access funds from the federation account, that would have a negative effect in the delivery of services in that state. There's no doubt about that. So I state here that it's unfortunate if the Federation Allocation Account Committee and by extension the federal government take a step to effect that restriction of allocation of funds from the Federation account to River State government, then apparently that will affect the delivery.
I hope I'm not getting you wrong. Are you implying that the federal government should go ahead despite a court order restricting it?
I dare say that even as much as the decisions of courts remain valid until decided otherwise as overturned by an appellate court, but in a situation where the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria is quite clear as to the rights of the federating units to access funds, and then for the purpose of providing services to the state and then the people of the state, if the federal government fails to find a way to resolving this, then I think that in the pretext that the federal government would want to say they want to comply by the order or the judgment of that court, then that will affect the state, except where the governor of the state has if you like, exceptional initiative to still find a way around running the state and providing services. Otherwise, if a state is not blessed with that ingenuity, then there is going to be a serious situation of probably grounding administration and service provision.
What would be the legal implications here on both sides of the divide? You are suggesting that the federal government disregard the court order and go ahead and give them the finances they need. On the flip side, what would be the implication, the legal implication, should the federal government do this, and also if they don't?
Well, apparently, when it comes to decisions of courts, and I do understand, even when you had the introduction to this, there is already an appeal against that decision. And then again, there could also be an application for stay of execution. And then where that exists, then it's not apparently a disobedience or disregard to the orders of a court, where there is an application for stay of execution, and when granted, then of course that judgment will be stayed in a way. But it's left to the federal government. This is not the first time and the only situation where the federal government would have intervened, and then not apparently in disobedience of the order of court, but for certain other considerations. Because let me state here, apparently, that it is not about the governor of a state, not particularly River State, where this kind of judgment, when delivered, would affect not the governor of the state, but the generality of, in fact, everybody in the state. The welfare of citizens and then the residents of that state will be affected. The provision of services will be affected. Children and, of course, everybody will be affected one way or another.
Is there a possibility that this will set a precedent for other states, and could it be something that would affect future revenue allocation to states?
I think one other consideration, I think, or one effect this kind of decision would give is a test to our democracy. I mean, our federalism. If we really truly have, if Nigeria is a federal state, because I think the other states in the federation will ask this fundamental question: the rights that states have and in the share of their appropriation, I mean their fund in the federation account, whether the federal government or any agency or the federal government, including the Central Bank of Nigeria, can withhold the share of any fund into the federation account. Don't forget that the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria provided to the extent that every fund, every money that is generated for the federal government should go into the federation account. But it's collectively owned by the local government, the state government, and the federal government. It is until that money is distributed that the federal government can have exclusive control, or any agency of the federal government, exclusive control of the share of the federal government. And I think this issue had arisen even before in this country, And sometimes the 36 states attorneys general have had cause to even challenge how the federal government had gone into expenditures of monies that collectively belong to all the tiers of the federating units of this federation that we claim to have. So I think it will be a constitutional issue and a legal issue that we may try again. But I've had this, I know that this has actually been a serious challenge in truly examining whether we have a federal system or we have a unitary system.
All right,
but
Henry.
It's unfortunate, indeed, that this kind of judgment will even come from the courts that we have in this country. I think sometimes if we're making we have to,
that's the much time will permit us. We appreciate the insights you've provided. Thank you for your time.
Thank you very much for having me. It's always my pleasure to be on your platform.
We stay with court matters. The Supreme Court has nullified the National Lottery Act 2005 enacted by the National Assembly. In a unanimous judgment on Friday, a 7-member of the Apex Court held that the National Assembly lacked the powers to legislate on issues relating to lottery and games of chance. The court held that such powers only reside with the State House of Assembly, which possesses exclusive jurisdiction over lottery and games of chance. In the lead judgment by Justice Muhammad Idris, ordered that the National Lottery Act 2005 should no longer be enforced in all states except the Federal Capital Territory FCT, in respect of which the National Assembly is empowered to make laws. If you've just joined us, you're watching Tonight. A reminder of our top stories. President Tinubu writes Parliament wants Oluyede confirmed as Chief of Army Staff. Federal government presses for extradition of Biafra agitator Simon Ekpa. Federal government obeys court order stopping Federation Account Allocation Committee revenue to Rivers State. And Tanzania opposition leader Freeman Mbowe arrested ahead of local polls. Thank you for staying with us. The federal government will likely apply for the extradition of Simon Ekpa, the leader of the Eastern Security Network, the paramilitary organization of the indigenous people of Biafra. Director of Defense Information, Brigadier General Tucker Gusau, who gave the indication, said Ekpa, a self-proclaimed disciple of IPOB leader Nnamdi Kanu, should be extradited to Nigeria to face criminal charges. However, the IPOB disassociated itself from the embattled Biafran separatists, asserting it had no relationship with him. Ekpa is one of the 97 individuals declared wanted by the Defense Headquarters in March 2024. The Finland-based Biafran agitator is a close ally of the IPOB leader, Nnamdi Kanu, who is facing charges of terrorism, treasonable felony, and inciting violence through his Radio Biafra, among others. And in Abia State, reactions have trailed the arrest of Simon Ekpa by the Finnish government on Thursday. In Umuahia, it is mixed feelings among residents who spoke to News Centre's Chinwe Ugele. A report.
On Thursday afternoon, the news of alleged arrest of Simon Ekpa spread like wildfire across the nation, eliciting public comments.
It's going to break calm. What if it turns out tomorrow he says, I'm not the one doing this? Or you see people who have been acting on the presumed instruction will.
As morning comes, it becomes clearer that Ekpa is indeed in the custody of Finnish authorities over alleged terrorism charges. Newspaper headlines connote the development. Majority of the residents of Umuahia are indifferent to the development and refuse making comments on it.
Can you get on the interview now?
The indigenous people of Biafra has, in a press statement on Friday, dissociated itself from Ekpa, thereby substantiating Emmanuel Kanu's position in a previous interview about his status in the body.
He is not a member of IPOB. He does not represent IPOB either.
Presumably, those who receive his arrest in good faith believe he has been responsible for the violence in the southeast and for defying Nnamdi Kanu's orders, especially as the concern sits at home.
Nigeria.
onye mba ọzọ onye mba ofesi mana ugbu a che mere na arrest ejidere ya ya ma onye na-eme ihe ọjọọ ka ejidere ya wekwe ihe ọjọọ kwụọ ya ụgwọ ya kwa ma ekwe ihe ọma o mere jide ya ka ekwe ihe ọma jide kwụọ ya ụgwọ.
They say Ikpa's arrest is a sign of breakthrough in finding a lasting solution to the insecurity in the zone.
All the challenges we've been having have been revolving about his commands, his instructions, and all that. So if they've arrested him, I think it's a good way. He should be able to explain himself as long as they permit him to go through the normal process of law and explain himself, whether the things we were hearing he was saying was true or not. I think it's a headway.
To others, arresting him will not solve the problem bedeviling the nation.
Ọ na-achọ ihe ruru ndị Igbo ka enye anyị ihe ruru anyị mgbe kwesịrị iri mana ndị na-achị anyị na-ahụta ya na ọwụ mmegbu.
The problem of Nigeria is the political leaders who stop.
To discourage the rise of any more separatists in the zone, the federal government ought to adopt workable and relatable approach that will calm the nerves of the citizens and instill confidence in them. In Umuahia for News Central, I am Chinwe Ugili.
Joining us now to discuss this is retired Assistant Director, Department of State Services, DSS, Dennis Amakere. Dennis, it's good to have you on the news. What do you make of the arrest of Simon Ekpa? I mean, there's been some reactions there. I saw you smiling when that man was talking about him trying to fight for Igbos.
Yes, thank you very much for having me again. You see, this is complicated. It's a complicated issue where of course, Ekpa is operating from outside Nigeria. Of course, we are all aware of the consequences of what he has been doing. The Eastern Network, security network, has been out there enforcing the sit at home. And this sit at home has claimed a lot of lives for people who came out who are being attacked and killed. And then, of course, he has not minced word when he is asked about it. He has assumed ownership of the orders that he has been giving to these people. So it is something that many people don't even know him. And then, of course, he's a citizen of Finland. And, of course, he has been even arrested and imprisoned before by the Finnish government, you know, for inciting people, inciting terrorism in social media. So these are the things surrounding this issue, and we have to take very, very ordered steps in it so that we can achieve whatever what we want to achieve. But I think arresting him is a good way, is a nice one in the right direction.
So I have two follow-up questions based off what you said, giving him some kind of relevance with these, you know, arrest and increasing his relevance and putting him in the media space always might give him, you said some persons don't know him. Is this amplifying a negativity that shouldn't be? And then on the flip side, what do you think are the chances that the federal government will succeed in its bid to extradite him to Nigeria for prosecution?
Well, you know, all terrorists try to, you know, seek for publicity. That is their major objective. And you will see that most of the things he's doing is in social media, trying to get support or even finances, you know, for the plan agitating for Biafra, you know. But now that he's been arrested, the Nigerian government, I think, has already applied, or if they've not, but it's a complicated process, very complicated process. The first step is the arrest and detention, which they have done right now. And of course, they have to charge him. And they have to tell the Finnish government in detail what the charges are, what he has done, you know. And then, of course, the evidence, they must provide evidence to support those charges.
Does it look like a possibility, or is just the normal hue and cry?
No, that is the process. That's a process. But you have to go through this process because the Finnish government, they don't act like Nigerian government. As far as they are concerned, that's your problem. He actually committed the crime in Finland. And if you are coming to claim him, then you have to go through these processes.
All right. Quickly, in the interest of time, there is a part to this whole drama. The IPOB here in Nigeria have issued a statement distancing themselves from Ekpa, that they don't know him, they're not associated with him. And I don't know, what do you make of that aspect of this media circus?
Yes, in fact, besides the IPOB, the Ohaneze Ndigo has also come out to, dissociate themselves from him. And I think what is happening here is that we are at home trying to solve this problem, and then, he is in Finland, try to put fuel into it. So for those who are at home, I think it's a better deal where they can work within the Nigerian system to find a solution instead of supporting him with his very violent approach to the situation.
All right, Dennis, as always, thank you for speaking with us.
Thank you for having me.
To politics now, the Labour Party has firmly rejected fresh allegations of covert collaboration with President Bola Tinubu and the All Progressive Congress APC in support of his re-election for the 2027 general elections. National Publicity Secretary of the Labour Party, Obiora Ifo, clarified the party's position on a statement issued in Abuja on Friday. Ifo's response came after a viral video surfaced featuring human rights lawyer Deji Adeoju accusing the Labour Party leadership of collaborating with President Bola Tinubu's loyalists to facilitate his return to the State House in 2027. The Labour Party spokesman dismissed the allegation, describing it as a fabrication and a product of Adeoju's imagination. He further challenged the activist to provide substantive evidence to support his claims. Let's now tell you that President Bola Tinubu has pledged to attract investments into Nigeria's livestock sector to end farmer-herder clashes, tackle hunger, and boost the economy. Speaking in Rio de Janeiro, Brazil, at a partnership event with global meat giant JBS SA, one of the top 3 largest meat processing companies globally, Tinubu highlighted the $2.5 billion opportunities in Nigeria's livestock industry. He emphasized transforming challenges into economic prosperity, calling JBS a critical partner in ensuring food security. JBS founder Wesley Batista expressed readiness to collaborate, describing Nigeria as a potential hub for protein supply in Africa. Ahead of the deal, Nigerian officials explored Brazil's advanced livestock systems, selecting JBS for its expertise and skill. The initiative aims to position Nigeria as a leader in livestock and agriculture on the continent.
What we're trying to do is transform a situation of tragedy, hopelessness, into economic opportunity. See through problems and see the opportunity that is involved in it. We've heard so much about you in terms of the reputation, and we believe in the partnership. Yeah, we have taken 4 steps, and for me, daring food security is extremely important as we talk right now. Yes, hunger.
To develop the livestock industry there, we think is a great opportunity for, we build a business in Nigeria for, the Nigerians, but also for Africa. Nigeria definitely can, be the center of, supplying protein to many different countries in Africa. So we look forward to work with you. We look forward to be in Nigeria as soon as possible.
We toward them, we have intensive discussions with them, and we have seen there are a lot of lessons Nigeria can learn from there to be able to fight hunger, as well as ensure food and nutrition sovereignty for our country. The signing you saw today was a commitment on behalf of the federal government of Nigeria and the private sector here under the leadership of JBS to come to Nigeria to explore the possibilities of direct foreign investment into Nigeria.
Aftermath of devastating floods in Borno State, stakeholders in the livestock sector have raised concerns about the profound impact on productivity and resilience. Livestock breeders, marketers, and allied professionals convened to discuss strategies to mitigate losses and promote sustainable development. News Center's Umaru Kirawa completes the report.
The livestock sector is one important pillar of the Nigerian economy, providing many job opportunities to the people. Stakeholders in the livestock sector in Borno State gathered to discuss pathways to develop the sector following severe floods that have disrupted the supply chain.
The flood disaster was, the magnitude is very high. People have lost their belongings, their resources, their capital base is now has brought down to a barest minimum. So to this, we are now thinking of a very flexible way in the short, medium, and long-term plans to now equip them, support them wherever possible, either in giving them capital base or giving them kind of a knowledge to improve on their productivity.
NITAL now has been revived, that the market of our products, we have both local and international. Italy has spent yearning for our products on a daily basis. And no amount of skin that will be produced here in Maiduguri, that will be much, because we extended even our scope to the neighboring states. We went to Adamawa, Yobe, Taraba, sourcing for skins. So I'm very impressed with this opportunity, and I'm getting convinced that with time, the sustainability of NITAL is assured.
Kuma insha Allah a zaman mu na shugabanninsu za mu shiga birni da ƙauyen gaya musu cewa wannan abu ne na ci gaba da ita Press da gwamnati ta kawo ta hada domin mu samu sauki da rayuwa kuma mu gudanar da harkokin mu yadda ya kamata.
Government officials at the meeting highlighted the livestock productivity and resilience support project, which aims to rebuild key infrastructure and provide technical assistance.
Gone were the days when you get everything being provided by the government. Now government is trying to provide an enabling environment so that people should go into public-private partnership with the government, and then they go into that. Livestock sector is a real business because a lot of money are there. Our youth should now don't look around for jobs. They go into this one, and the government is going to support them.
Revitalizing the livestock sector remains critical in boosting Nigeria's agricultural productivity and food security. In Maiduguri for News Central, Umaru Kirawa.
Trauma experts in Nigeria have criticized the federal government policies on women living with disabilities, saying that there are no provisions to cater for their mental health. This was at the Kuje Area Council in Abuja, where experts engaged with women from Nigeria's disability community in a bid to address their unique trauma care needs. Amadine Uyi tells us more.
According to available estimates, over 25 million Nigerians are living with disability in the country. Trauma experts say many of them face discrimination, which puts their mental health in jeopardy. At this event, which was held at the Kuje Area Council of Abuja, expected to provide trauma-informed care and support to women with disabilities, experts say current government policies have not adequately addressed their concerns.
We have policies that have not really looked into the concern of these people, and then we find it's very important that by the time we have these people come out to speak about their concerns and the world can now listen to them and hear, then we can have we can probably prefer a lasting solution to the problem.
That the fact that you are living with disability is already traumatizing, then the idea of being stigmatized, being discriminated against is another traumatizing issue that they face in the course of their day-to-day activity. So we are here to give succor to them, to build their resilience and give them hope.
They call on government to do more in protecting persons with disability in the country.
Disability doesn't just narrow down to people that cannot walk, see. There are various forms of disabilities and these vary. So the government should also educate, the government should make sure that it's in students' curriculums, also educate them when it comes to disability. So everyone just have an idea of what disability is, and then everyone can offer first aid care to people with disabilities in the society. So the government should make a policy against stigmatizing people with disability and also build homes to support these people with disability, also help them financially.
Government should really pay attention to people with disability. They're also, very important and should be part of everything that we do. So I'm talking about inclusion. I believe that if they're part of everything we do, they will feel a little bit more like, together.
The project is expected to address unique trauma care needs of women in Nigeria's disability community. In Abuja for News Central, I am Amadin Uyi.
Fate Foundation, founded in 2000 by Fola Adeola, former MD CEO of GT Bank, now Guarantee Trust Holding Company PLC, continues its legacy of supporting Nigerian entrepreneurship through the Fate Institute. As the foundation's research, policy and advocacy arm, the Fate Institute has become Nigeria's leading think tank in entrepreneurship. Recently, Nasir Agbalaya, team lead for the business desk, attended the 10th annual Fate Institute Policy Dialogue Series on entrepreneurship.
For the real stars of today are truly indefatigable Nigerian entrepreneurs.
In celebration of 10 years of influencing entrepreneurship policy in Nigeria, the Fate Institute has held its 10th Policy Dialogue on Entrepreneurship. This milestone event gathered thought leaders, policymakers, and entrepreneurs to discuss the evolution of Nigeria's entrepreneurship ecosystem and also examining progress made and identifying ongoing challenges.
Very much align and support with these initiatives, and we genuinely hope that it will help transform emerging businesses across the country.
As part of looking to the future, the dialogue also focused on essential steps to empowering entrepreneurs, emphasizing sustainable growth, inclusive finance, and strategic support levers needed to drive the sector forward.
Statistics have shown us, that access to finance is a major bane to the growth of startups.
And on all existing protocol, as I quickly share insights from the 2024 State of Entrepreneurship Report. For some context, the State of Entrepreneurship Report is our flagship report at the Institute, and this report assesses entrepreneurial activity across the 37 states in Nigeria, including the FCT.
Key themes included the ease of doing business, women and youth entrepreneurship, market access, and strategies to boost trade. The occasion was also used to launch its 2024 edition of its State of Entrepreneurship in Nigeria report.
Enterprises, they are uneducated people, but this thing shows to us that only 1% didn't go to school in all those who started school, those started businesses. Only 2% additional are the ones that went to primary school level. Every other person had a higher level of education. I've seen so many negative indexes in Nigeria that I'm asking myself, where is the good in us? But this book reflects the good in us and the possibility of the betterment of the good in us, if there's an English like that.
These future-focused talks focused on key support levers for the upcoming 10 years, such as extending inclusive finance, promoting trade, and improving market access in order to create a more robust and sustainable ecosystem for Nigerian entrepreneurs.
Thank you for staying with us. Let's bring you one of our top stories tonight. One of Tanzania's main opposition leaders, Freeman Mbowe, was detained by police on Friday. The Chadema party revealed this just days ahead of local elections. Chadema had protested earlier this week that many of its candidates had been unfairly disqualified from running in the November 27 polls in towns and villages across the nation. Chadema Director of Communication and Foreign Affairs, John Mrema, said the police force ambushed a convoy in Halungu Forest located in Mbosi district and arrested the national chairman of the party, Freeman Mbowe. Mrema said Mbowe and other Chadema leaders were stopped by a police roadblock where the police forcibly opened the car doors, assaulted those inside, and forcefully arrested them. The FMDQ Exchange has released its October 2024 report on the performance of Nigeria's Naira, and Leko Onobanjo has more on this and other stories on Business Tonight.
Business news in association with Money Master PSB, the easy way to master your money.
The FMDQ exchange reported continued depreciation of the Naira against the dollar in October 2024, reflecting sustained volatility in the forex market. The FMDQ exchange financial markets monthly report indicated a 2.38% decline in the Naira's value, with the average spot exchange rate reaching 1,631 Naira 71 kobo to a dollar, up from September's 1,592 Naira 89 kobo to a dollar. Spot FX market turnover increased by 6.58%, amounting to $10.08 billion. That's about 16.36 trillion naira, as the naira fluctuated within a range of 1,552 naira 92 kobo to a dollar to 1,675 naira 49 kobo to a dollar. Despite Central Bank of Nigeria interventions, the Naira closed in October at 1,675 Naira 49 kobo to a dollar and has continued trading above 1,600 Naira to a dollar. The International Monetary Fund is set to approve a $360 million disbursement to Ghana in early December, following a successful third review of the country's fund program. IMF Communications Director Julie Kozak confirmed at a Washington press conference that Ghana has shown remarkable progress in debt restructuring and met key program requirements. Kozak noted positive economic strides, including stronger than expected growth in early 2024, a reduction in inflation, and fiscal, including external improvements. However, she advised caution against actions that could disrupt Ghana's progress, emphasizing the importance of sustained commitment to economic reforms. Up north, Morocco's inflation rate slowed slightly to 0.7% in October from 0.8% in September, according to the country's statistics agency. Food prices, a key inflation driver, rose by 0.5% year on year, while non-food inflation increased by 0.7%. Core inflation, which strips out volatile items, was up 0.3% from the previous month and 2.4% from a year earlier. These figures indicate a modest stabilization in Morocco's consumer prices, reflecting manageable inflationary pressures amid stable food and non-food prices. Finally, The British private sector contracted in November for the first time in over a year, driven by concerns over the government's new tax hikes on businesses, according to the S&P Global Flash Composite PMI. The index fell to 49.9, down from 51.8 in October, marking its first dip below the 50 threshold in 13 months, which indicates a contraction. S&P's chief business economist Chris Williamson warned that the data signals a quarterly economic contraction of 0.1% and hints at potentially more job losses ahead. And that's all on business news. I am Lekon Onobanjo.
Sports Update, brought to you by Corn Oil. Corn Oil, we go the extra mile.
Hello and welcome to Sports News. The president of the Nigeria Football Federation, Alhaji Ibrahim Gusau, has been selected as the first vice president of the West African Football Union WAFUB zone. The election took place in Niamey, Niger Republic on Friday on the margin of this year's CAF African Schools Football Championship taking place in that country. President of the Ghana Football Association, Kurt Okraku, was elected president of the zone, while Umaru Sawadago, president of the Burkina Faso Football Federation, was elected as the second vice president. The WAFUB zone is made up of 7 countries, namely Nigeria, Togo, Benin Republic, Ghana, Burkina Faso, Niger Republic, and Cote d'Ivoire. Bayer Leverkusen and Nigeria striker Victor Boniface is set to miss a few games after returning from international duty with a leg injury, coach Jabi Alonso said on Friday. Boniface reportedly sustained a thigh injury in Nigeria's 2025 Africa Cup of Nations qualifying match day 6 encounter against Rwanda in Uyo on Monday. The 23-year-old started the game and was replaced by Umar Sadiq in the closing stages. The striker failed to train with his teammates on Thursday as they prepared for the clash with Heidenheim. He has scored 8 goals in 15 appearances across all competitions for the reigning Bundesliga champions this season. Arsenal will be without defender Ben White for a few months after he underwent knee surgery, but they are hopeful he will return before the end of the season, manager Mikel Arteta said on Friday. White underwent surgery during the international break, and Arteta said the club decided he had to go under the knife as they had not seen any improvement in his injury. The defender has been irregular in Arsenal's backline in the last 2 seasons, but has made only 7 league starts this term. There was positive news on the injury front for Arsenal, with Arteta saying Bukayo Saka and Declan Rice joining their first training session after both players withdrew from the England squad, while Ricardo Calafiori is back. The Badminton Confederation of Africa has launched a groundbreaking initiative in Nigeria targeting Olympic success at the Los Angeles 2028 Games. Dubbed Road to LA 2028, the program is designed to prepare Nigerian and other African badminton players to compete at the highest level on the global stage. President of the Badminton Federation of Nigeria and BCA Council member Francis Obi described it as a bold step towards long-term success. The partnership between the BFN and the BCA aims to transform Africa's badminton landscape, ensuring the continent's players are equipped to challenge the world's best. In the CAF Women's Champions League, Edo Queens have finished in 4th place after losing the 3rd place 4-3 on penalties to FC Massau of Egypt. Despite an array of chances in regulation time, Edo Queens squandered them all as the match ended in a goalless draw to convert any of their chances, and that ended in a stalemate. The Nigerian champions will earn $300,000 in prize money for their efforts. And that's all on sports tonight. My name is Okweoluwa Adibari.
Entertainment news in association with Glow Unlimited.
And now in entertainment tonight, Wizkid's new album Morayo is dominating the charts and setting new records just hours after its release. Wizkid is proving why he's the GOAT of Afrobeats. In less than 10 hours after the release of his deeply personal album Morayo, all 17 tracks claimed the top 17 spots on the Apple Music Nigeria. Yes, the entire album. The project, a touching tribute to his late mother, Juliana Morayo Balogun, is also making waves internationally. Its lead single, Piece of My Heart, has already hit number 4 on the US Afrobeat Songs chart and number 7 on the World Digital Song Sales chart. But that's not all. Wizkid shattered streaming records in Nigeria, with one of Morayo's tracks pulling in an impressive 1.57 million streams on Spotify on its opening day. Wizkid is in a league of his own, and Morayo is the proof. On the international scene, Nigerian-American singer Shaboze just dropped a juicy hint about teaming up with Queen Bee again, and we're here for it. Shaboze, who's been making waves since his feature on Beyoncé's epic Cowboy Carter album, is teasing fans with the possibility of another collab with the Queen herself. While chatting at the CMA Awards, the Ebar song singer and hitmaker spilled the tea, saying there are some things in the works. Though he kept it vague, it's enough to spark excitement. He also shared that Beyoncé and her team sent their love after his big CMA nominations. And here's where it gets spicy. Beyoncé is headlining the NFL's Christmas Day game halftime show on Netflix. With the theme centered around Cowboy Carter, could Shaboze make a surprise cameo? I guess we'll have to wait to find out.
And that is all tonight. But before we go, let's take another look at some of the major stories. President Tinubu rides Parliament once Oluyede confirmed as Chief of Army Staff. Federal government presses for extradition of Biafra agitator Simon Ekpa. Federal government obeys court orders stopping Federation Account Allocation Committee revenue to Rivers State. We also brought you news that Tanzania opposition leader Freeman Mbowe has been arrested ahead of local polls. You can catch up on all the latest stories by watching News Central live on DSTV channel 422, Star Times channel 274, Avo TV, and on YouTube. Thank you as always for watching. Have a good weekend.